There's a giant ant, a machine that turns large things into tiny things. Ooh, I wish I had one that worked the opposite way, cause, Anyway, this is Jace with Popcorn Recap, and today we are recapping a fun science fiction adventure movie called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The movie begins with a mailman handing over the mail for the Zielinski family to a dog, Quark, who immediately heads inside. Amy is inside making breakfast and talking to a friend over the phone. She's ecstatic because a boy wanted to ask if she had a date for the dance. Quark leaves the mail on the table and barks for Nick's attention. Amy shares with her friend that her parents are having marital problems. Nick asks Amy when she thinks their mom will be home, and she lies and says she just went out to get a carton of milk. Quark enters the attic, where Wayne is hard at work on his newest invention, a shrink ray. Amy, Wayne's daughter, informs him that breakfast is ready. He lets her know through a printed paper that he'll be down in 5 minutes. Looks like Wayne used a different appendage to type that up, since it is misspelled. Big Russ wakes up from all the noises coming from the Zielinski's attic. He's fuming since they have a trip that day and he needs all the rest he can get. Fed up, he threatens to break Wayne's arm and heads for the door with May, his wife, trying to calm him down. Nick, Wayne's son, enters the attic to show Wayne the miniature model of the shrink ray he's working on. He's trying to talk to Wayne, but Wayne asks him to leave since he needs to get the machine working as soon as possible. Nick leaves disappointed. Wayne tests his machine on an apple. He adjusts the laser to shrink the apple, but the apple explodes instead. It's a good thing he didn't use the dog in this trial run. During breakfast, Wayne is preoccupied as Amy asks him if he made his shrink ray work. He confirms, but he has a bit more smoothing out to do. Sure, Jan. Amy reminds him about the conference he's going to, which reminds him he needs to leave already. Diane, Wayne's wife, calls to check up on the kids and wishes Wayne luck before he leaves. Wayne promises that if things go well, everything will change. The Thompson family, their next-door neighbors, are getting ready for a fishing trip. Ron, the youngest son, exchanges snide remarks with Nick before Big Russ calls for him to get his stuff so they can leave. He asks Russell, the oldest son, to help him out as well. Ron practices baseball on his own in their backyard. He hits the ball and sends it straight to the Zielinski's attic, where the ball hits Wayne's computer, and then the shrink ray, which activates it. He tries to run, but Russell stops him, drags him to the Zielinski's house, and makes him apologize. They're met by Amy and Nick, where Ron admits to what he did. Amy tells Nick to take Ron upstairs and clean up the mess and get his ball. The boys enter the attic and are zapped by the shrink ray. At the conference, Wayne is losing people during his presentation. Many of them are skeptical about his shrink ray. He tries to defend his study, but the audience asks for proof, which he can't provide yet. They all leave except Dr. Brainerd, who rushes to comfort him, telling him that it'll take time to convince people unless he has evidence. Russell and Amy head for the attic since the boys still haven't come back. They notice the shrink ray sparking and are then zapped as well. Nick and Ron start running toward them. Amy asks them what happened, then Quark enters the attic and starts barking at them. Wayne arrives home after the conference. Quark barks at him and leads him to the attic. He's calling for the kids, but they're too tiny to be seen or heard. He notices his thinking couch is gone, but it's simply shrunk. As he looks around the attic, he sees the broken window and tells Quark it's been a day. He blames the shrink ray. The kids scream for him not to do it, but in his anger, Wayne starts destroying the shrink ray. After he's done, he goes to sweep the mess he made. The kids are running around screaming and trying to avoid the broom. They're all swept up and thrown into a trash bag. Wayne hurriedly takes the bag down the stairs and out to the backyard next to all the other garbage they have. The kids slice the trash bag open to escape. Amy asks Nick if Wayne will be able to fix them, and Nick tells her that he thinks so. Amy tells the group that they just need to get back to the house. Russell tells Ron that they'll follow Amy and Nick. They hear something big flying by, and Russell tells everyone to run. They hide under a mushroom and wait until the butterfly is gone. Diane gets home and shares with Wayne the news that she was able to sell a house that day. She asks him how his conference went, and he tells her that he had a lot of laughs. He admits that it didn't go well. The kids run into what seems to be a large river. Nick realizes that they can call for Quark so that they can get on him and get back to the house. He asks the group to whistle. Meanwhile, Diane and Wayne are worried, since they don't know where Amy and Nick are. Wayne sees Quark pawing at the door and lets him out. The three boys climb on a flower so that Quark can hear them better. Nick sees Quark and whistles for him, but the Thompsons' cat chases him back inside the house. What a pussy cat. The flower they're on can't hold the three boys' weight, and it starts swaying with Nick in danger of falling since he's further up. He screams and falls onto another flower. Amy yells for him to get off since he's allergic to pollen. My eyes are getting itchy just looking at this. A swarm of bees arrives to pollinate, and Nick gets stuck on one. Russell tries to save him by jumping on the back of the bee, but the bee flies away with the two instead. Ron declares that they're never going to find Russell, and it's Wayne's fault. Amy tells him off, reminding him that Nick is on the bee as well. After getting attacked by the bee Nick and Russell were on, Wayne realizes that Nick doesn't play baseball and wonders where the bat he's holding came from. He looks up, sees the broken window, and realizes that a ball may have broken it. He heads for the attic again, finds the baseball, and as he goes to pick it up, steps on his shrunken thinking couch. He celebrates since the shrink ray works, but also realizes that the kids may be tiny too. He crawls around whispering their names and stumbles upon the broom he was using earlier. It dawns on him that the kids may be in the backyard. While searching for the kids in the backyard, Wayne accidentally turns the sprinkler on, which sets the kids into a frenzy, trying to avoid big drops of water from drowning them. Amy sees Russell and Nick running, and she yells for Nick. A big drop splashes on her, making her lose her footing and fall into a puddle. Russell tells Nick to get under the ledge with Ron and rushes to save Amy. As they're cleaning up, Nick asks Russell where he learned CPR, and Russell jokingly tells him in French class, which makes Amy smile. She notices Ron looking over at them and offers a truce. On their trek back to the Zielinski's house, they find an oatmeal cream cookie that they all charge to. Amy screams when she looks up and finds an ant who's also interested in the cookie. Nick suggests that they try to capture the ant so they can go back faster since ants are quick and can lift up to 50 times their weight. Amy tries to discourage the plan, but all three boys agree it's a good idea and head for the ant. As they're trying to wrestle the ant, Amy picks up a cookie crumb and calls the ant's attention. The ant follows her and gives the boys an idea. With no choice, the Thompsons report their missing boys. Big Russ gets into a small argument with the police as he refuses to believe that the kids ran away. Wayne shows Diane his shrunken thinking couch. Diane asks him if he told the kids, and he says that the kids know. He tries to temper Diane's excitement before telling her that he thinks he shrunk the kids, both theirs and the Thompsons' kids. That evening, Ron decides to let the ant go, which the others agree to. But the ant refuses and follows after them. Meanwhile, both Diane and Wayne are now searching for the kids around the backyard, swinging around the contraption Wayne built so they won't have to step on the grass and accidentally step on the kids. Big Russ goes out to smoke and finds the Zielinski couple hanging from Wayne's contraption. He finds what they're doing weird and in his annoyance flicks his lit cigarette towards their backyard. It lands close to the kids. They rush towards it. Russell guesses it's Big Russ's since it's his favorite brand. Amy comments that it looks like he started again, and Russell interrupts that he only smokes when he's worried about something, then shares a look with Ron. Diane hears the Thompson couple arguing over Russell quitting football. She calls for Wayne and tells him that they have to tell the Thompsons about the shrunken kids. May and Big Russ don't believe the two at first, especially since they already think that the Zielinskis are a bunch of weirdos. Diane tells Wayne to show the Thompsons the thinking couch, and Wayne brings them to his microscope. May asks them why they didn't inform them earlier, and Diane tells them that the machine blew things up, so they didn't think it was working. Big Russ threatens Wayne to make sure nothing happens to his kids. While Amy and Russell are kissing, a scorpion arrives. Nick and Ron scream, and everyone tries to get off the Lego block they were resting on. Ron is left behind as the others hide, and the ant hears Ron's screams. Russell distracts the scorpion so that Ron can escape. The ant arrives and tugs at the scorpion's leg. Fighting with the ant, the scorpion grabs the ant with his pincher and fatally stabs it with its stinger, while the group throws sticks at it to push it back. The next morning, Tommy, a friend of Nick's, comes back to mow the Zielinski's lawn, which is something he and Nick agreed to the previous day. The kids panic, trying to run away from the lawnmower. They hide in a cave they found, and Ron asks what they're entering. Amy answers that she doesn't know and hopes that whatever was living there has moved out. Nick explains that they've entered an earthworm's burrow, but reassures them that they're dormant this time of the year. While fixing the shrinking ray, Diane and Wayne hear the lawnmower running and leap into action to stop Tommy. As Tommy stops, the lawnmower also stops right on top of the earthworm burrow's entrance. Nick is getting sucked in by the lawnmower while the other kids form a human chain to stop him from getting into the lawnmower's blades. They get sucked into the lawnmower but narrowly miss the blades and get thrown away. Quark approaches them, and each of them grabs onto Quark's fur and clings tightly. He immediately goes inside and heads for Wayne. He gets on top of the table, barking at Wayne, but Wayne pushes him away, but not before Nick falls into Wayne's bowl of cereal. The other kids get off Quark, screaming at Wayne to prevent him from eating Nick. As he's about to take another spoonful, Quark bites him on his ankle, and he yells, looking down and finally seeing Nick swimming around his spoonful of cereal. The Zielinskis with the Thompsons try to figure out what's wrong with Wayne's laser. The kids mime playing baseball, and Wayne figures that the laser on his shrink ray is creating too much heat, which is why everything's blowing up. Big Russ refuses to allow Wayne to experiment on the kids, so he asks him to try the shrink ray on him first to make sure it's working correctly. Wayne successfully shrinks Big Russ and returns him back to normal size. The family reunites with their kids, and any problem they had with each other earlier is resolved. The movie ends during Thanksgiving with the two families now close friends. Russell and Amy are dating, Ron and Nick are friends, as well as both sets of parents. They carve into a huge turkey while Quark is enjoying an enlarged dog treat. That was such a fun movie. Until next time. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.